everything takes time. Like when Sanjay and Kailash were talking about, you could see that everything takes time to reach maturity. You can't really force things. And in similar way, from the technology point of view, I know when I was doing my BTech from IIT Bombay, one of the things that was there was there's something called neural network that they talked about and AI and something, and it looked like AI was just around the corner. And then once I came out of IIT, that was in '87, I finished my master's. Everyone forgot about sort of like AI. There was hardly ever any mention that ML people started talking about. And now AI is something that you just cannot ignore. Okay. I mean, we have a joke like, just like .com was something that was very, I mean, any company will have a .com extension. I will say that any company that comes to us, not 100%, but very likely to have a .ai something because without that, people, in fact, in today's tech world, without AI, you just can't really think of a tech company. So while you're all building AI in your offerings, and each of the company will have different type of AI offering because it depends on what product, what offerings are you making. So we decided that let's have a knowledge sharing because AI though it has been growing, but it has been growing so quickly. The traction for AI is increasing internal operations as well as the offering that we thought that it would make sense for companies to share knowledge, to share best practices as to what they are doing internally. So before we start, I just wanted to set some context to it. Oops. So AI everyone knows that AI is revolutionizing the way we work, but the impact is most apparent and most, possibilities, the potentials are there in companies like yours. Companies which are young, which are in some sense AI native, simply because larger companies are still using AI in a piecemeal fashion because they have existing set of processes, structures that they can't really touch easily. While startups can actually really benefit from the AI. And here is something, actually take these numbers with a bit of pinch of salt because these numbers are from primarily US based companies, and $1 million there is very different from $1 million in India, especially if you're selling to Indian customers. But what I'm trying to show here is just emphasizing the same thing. Like if you see the efficiencies of the company, the average change in ARR per employee, the increase has been maximum in early stage companies. While in enterprise companies, in fact, because maybe they're getting older, etc., the efficiencies have been actually going down. So, in fact, I believe this presents an opportunity also for startups because that is the way they can be more efficient and then even compete with the larger companies. I mean, I'm sure that none of our companies are at that level of efficiencies level that what you're seeing in Silicon Valley typically $1 million to $5 million companies having only around 25 employees. Another slide from the same study where they talked about how big the teams are typically. With companies which have become AI native, they are using AI very heavily, and how their teams are now shaping up. So most of our companies will probably fall in between $1 million to $1 to $5 million sort of category. 7 to 25 employees is what they're talking about. Engineering team between around 40% or so followed by the sales team and so on. So I'm not going to read each and every thing of this, but this basically shows how the same thing 5 years back, the team for $1 million company or a company with a $1 to $5 million ARR, the team sizes are much bigger. Typically, there are around 40, 50 employees, which is now shrunk to only around 25 employees. It's happening because of two reasons. One is efficiency, and second thing is it's just opening up a much wider market. So both these things. So customer acquisition is faster, and you can do the same thing with a smaller team. You know, A16Z recently did a study, okay, with Mercury fintech company, where most of the new generation companies actually do their banking with Mercury. So what they did was they just looked at which are the software products that companies were spending money on, just to find out what is the adoption of different AI applications. Okay? This is not really based on the web traffic based analysis, that which AI company has the maximum web traffic, but actually something much more fundamental, that how much money companies are spending on different things. So bunch of companies, 50 companies that they publish that these are the companies which are top 50 companies as far as the spend, AI related spend is concerned. Obviously the top, OpenAI, not at all surprising, Anthropic, basically those are the basic LLM providing companies. But what is more interesting or more meaningful is maybe this slide. So 60% of the spend goes to horizontal applications. So likes of LLM, likes of simple creatives, AI products that will help you create your marketing material and so on. And around 40% goes in vertical application, where the complete particular function is being driven through AI, agentic AI typically. And the top categories from that A16Z study were general LLM assistant. Everyone is using ChatGPT, and this category was the biggest spend by far. Meeting support tools, again, not surprising. I mean, just two days back, we were having our LP meeting, where we are presenting to what the fund has been doing, fund update. And before the LP started joining, many of the LPs, note takers started joining. So, I mean, so this is not at all surprising. I mean, recently we were, in fact, Rakesh will know, Deepak was joking also about that during your AGM meeting. There were more note takers in the meeting than real people. I think there were number of note takers was twice the number of real people who were attending the meeting. So not surprising that meeting support tools, but they go beyond just note taking. Some of them are even going as far as drafting emails, creating action items from those meetings and so on. So that's again a very, very common, again, that I will call a horizontal sort of thing. Creative platforms, so just something to help with that. Coding co-pilots, this is something that started a little late, but it is now Cursor, Lovable, etc. That's something that is really catching up very, very quickly. Customer services automations. You know, chatbots have been around for very long, but with GenAI, they have become just turbocharged. They can do much more than what they were doing earlier. Sales and GTM optimization, and even recruitment optimization. I mean, this was very interesting when I was reading this, because that shows that recruitment is something that people are trying to optimize. Okay, so recruitment optimization was one vertical that appeared in the top 5 or 6 optimization that people were doing. So good news probably from the TurboHub point of view. Because smaller companies probably can live with a simple agentic AI based optimization, but the larger companies will hopefully require a product. So while this was the A16Z study, I mean, when I was looking at, I wrote to all of you asking about how you are using AI in your internal operations. And I got response from almost everyone. I would say it is disappointing, but it was very obvious that the adoption of AI for our internal efficiencies in our portfolio companies, and it might be true for all Indian companies, was way lagging way behind what you're seeing in the Silicon Valley and rest of the world. So that shows that there is a lot more we can do. We can become much more efficient, and maybe we can it's not just a matter of efficiency, but maybe we can grow faster because of it. So from our companies, that A16Z study was done on 200,000 companies. They were not just A16Z portfolio companies, because they just went to Mercury and looked at each and every company which was banking with Mercury. This is based on just our 19 portfolio companies that responded, and these were the most prominent use cases for our portfolio company. I'm not writing the tools because many of you didn't respond with the tool, which is fine. But rapid product prototyping, I think 3 of those 19 companies talked about that they are using it in software development, product prototyping, generating creatives at scale, market and technical analysis, proposal and RFP automation, something that I didn't see in A16Z list, but I think 2 or 3 companies talked about this automation also. Lead nurturing and follow-up and scalable customer support. So this is what we found in our companies, and what I decided that it's this with this as the backdrop, I just picked 4 companies to invite here for the panel discussion, and I want to actually just ask them questions about how they have been rolling out different AI initiatives within the company, what the results have been, what are the challenges, or what are the best practices that others can pick for them. So before I invite the panelists, any questions or any suggestions on this part? Okay. So you can lights. So Pratik from CustomerGlu. I received Pratik. Deepankar from ClearTrust. Amit from DeepTek. And Harry from QuickReply. I don't see you, huh? I'm human, I'm not really AI, and my memory is not very good. So I'm going to use a cheat sheet. I have written the set of questions that I want to ask. So I'll be referring to that all the time. So please bear with me on that. Thanks, guys. And we have microphones here, so you can just pass it around. So I would like to ask each of you, if I just take around a couple of minutes, 2-3 minutes, to just talk about what your journey has been and what are the key objectives for your AI initiatives. Like, are you mainly driven to drive to reduce the cost, or increase the efficiencies, or maybe increase the speed, coverage? So what is it that you have been trying to do in your company, and what percentage of your organization you think you are now, or operations, do you think where you have rolled out AI related? Maybe we can start with you, Pratik.
Hi everyone, so I'm Pratik, founder and CEO of CustomerGlu. We are a in-app gamified engagement platform. That's what we help companies do. Now with AI, I think in one word, if I have to put it, AI literally saved my company from dying. Because 2 years ago, we had a moment in our company where we were out of funds, our costs were crazily high, and our revenue wasn't up to the mark. Now, at that time, because of lack of money, obviously the team had also left because we were not able to process salaries. And I think at that time, the one of the choices that we had was, okay, should we like sell the company or should we shut it down or should we keep going? Customer demand was not that. Interestingly, the customer demand is still they want the solution and they want it to work. And at that time, since the costs were high, one of the big things that we had to figure out was how do we migrate from one cloud to another. Being an engineer myself, right, and being a CS from CS background, I had some sysadmin experience, but I did not have a lot of hands-on experience with my own stack because obviously those engineers who had built the product had left the company at that time. So I had a code base, I had a source code, and I didn't have a lot of operating information on, okay, how can I just go and deploy it on a different cloud? And I think tools like ChatGPT, and back then, ChatGPT was just a chat interface. It was not integrated into the IDEs. It was not integrated into tools like Codex, etc. So it really helped in guiding, and most importantly, I think I remember still that we were migrating our Lambda functions on AWS to Azure functions on Microsoft, and we were able to do like imagine one person if they had to do it, it would have taken like maybe multiple days, but agent was able to do these things very quickly. And now this whole thing has evolved into the journey towards efficiencies. Like today we are a two-person company, right? And our revenue per employee would be what, $10,000. That's where we are. And our cost of running the entire organization every month is just around $3,000. So that's where we are today. I think AI has a big role to play.
Deep.
Yeah, thanks for that. So I'm Dipankar, co-founder, CEO, ClearTrust. So as I said a little bit earlier, we protect digital marketeers from fake ad traffic. And that's where I'll give an example. The story comes from there. Of late, we have been seeing that the type of traffic which we are scanning, it is changing by the hour. So earlier, in a regular campaign, you were able to find 30% fraud. Now that fraud percentages have started increasing and we are seeing newer types of fraud, which is very close to a human. So very hard to differentiate, is it a bot or a human? So that is where we took the help of AI. So for us, efficiency of the scan is very important. How best we can scan it? What is the quality of our scan? Are we able to judge it correctly, human or a bot? So that is where what we did was around 3-4 pillars we have right now. So one is we started doing synthetic data generation, simulating what kind of fraud can come. So that data we generated at scale. Then we have built a trap generator, which looks at the data and tries to find patterns in that. So now with that, we have been able to blend customer data, synthetic data, and we are able to find very nice types of fraud. And of late, about a month back, we have found a fraud which is a residential proxy fraud, appears like a human, slow poison, comes very, very slowly, just like a human, comes in, hits your page, and there is no way you can figure it out by looking at the data because all the data is declared and it is correct. So we started synthetic data generation, trap generation, log analysis. So these are some areas where we are deploying this. And we are also working on a simulator which can simulate different threat patterns using AI. And in that, we are using multiple models. We're not sticking to one model. Every model is giving us different types of simulated results. So that is where our journey of AI is. And I think for our customers, we are able to come up with newer traps for them. And I think that is a necessity for us to come up with newer traps because if we don't, the traffic passes through.
Thank you. I think just to give a very brief about myself, I'm a radiologist. I'm probably an odd one out here in terms of tech, but I'm a co-founder and CEO at DeepTek and work very closely with Ajit from the domain side. And we are solving a radiology problem here. Radiology and imaging is one of the most important core areas in healthcare. Every patient has to come to the radiology department and do a scan. And therein lies the challenge. There are not enough number of radiologists to report. And then how do we have those select 20,000 radiologists in India for the 1.4 billion people report cases as fast as they're coming out of the scanner? And without AI or without AI agents, this we felt when we started in 2017 is going to be impossible. And that's exactly how we started Vision AI for chest X-ray analysis, because chest X-ray is the basic, most important investigation everyone does every time, right? Everyone will go at least undergo one chest X-ray in their lifetime, and in advanced countries almost every year. So we have a Vision AI which does the patient segregation, normal X-rays and abnormal X-rays, and drafts reports for normal and drafts reports for abnormal. After 2 years back, when the Gen AI came in, like particularly OpenAI, ChatGPT, and other tools, particularly now with Google and MedPalm and other things, we are now also being able to use the Vision plus the Agent AI to generate a full report. And that's the big change that happened. And as a result, the reports, we are now able to combine the AI outputs and generate a full-scale report ready for radiologists review within 30 seconds. And this allowed us to scale our radiology business in number of scans to 3,000 per scan per day. We support more than 1,800 sites in the country, including public health. So today, if you ask us in terms of how much Gen AI we are using and the Vision AI, almost we are at full capacity, but there is no end to it, how much you can use. We have at least 100 AI agents from the Gen AI side working non-stop because they are required for report generation. So every body part is a report. For example, CT brain, MRI spine. So all these are separate agents. And then there's a report formatting agent, a report generation agent, a report checking agent. For example, many times the radiology report have a lot of mistakes. Male patient becomes a female patient. And all these are because of burnout. Or sometimes gallbladder is removed and there is a gallbladder in the report. So all these agents help to check, cross-check the clinical history and ensure that these mistakes don't happen. So these are the kind of agents we are using within the department and within the organization.
Good.
Hi, this is Hridesh from QuickReply. QuickReply is a WhatsApp marketing automation platform. And Gen AI, like when first time ChatGPT launched, so at that time, we were a little excited like to use the ChatGPT to build into the process, which started, but it was not, I mean, it still took some time. And then next breakthrough was around like 1.5 years ago when we hired our first product person. So at that time, there were a lot of challenges in the tech, like in the product building, when we were building some product and it was going back and forth between QA and engineers, and then it was stuck in the release cycles. Because there was not a proper product thought and there were challenges like not a lot of use cases were thought. So that was the time when we hired our product person and he was very pro into using Gen AI. So I mean, he was quickly able to fix a lot of things, lot of bugs like which were in the platform using Gen AI to provide a proper solution to each of the problems that we are facing. So here we started like rapid prototyping of the product, and we were like able to put into the like tool like prototyping tool. So it was able to tell like this is the feature, like this is how it should behave, and like all that corner cases we were able to handle quickly. The next thing was like in the customer success team. So since we are
Harry here. So you mentioned that you're using Gen AI for rapid prototyping. So
Yes.
what tool are you using, and how long did it take for you to really? Is it being used in an ad hoc fashion by your dev team that someone wants to use this tool or that tool, or did you guys go about clearly defining a process how the rapid prototyping Gen AI tools will be used in the company?
So, like the way we are using right now, it is not used by dev team, but it is used by product team. Before Gen AI, the process was that between product and design, there was a lot of back and forth. Product person will maybe draw some wireframe, it will give instruction to design, and then it will be a lot of back and forth. And then when it comes to building interactions in the UI, again it was a lot of back and forth. And even a lot of times things are not clear between product and design, and when they come to the implementation part. After dev implements the things, then designer thinks this is not what we have decided, and then it goes back again. So here, instead of building, like our product person started using GenAI tools like this. So there are some tools like bold.new, there is one, and then there is a v0.dev. So these are the tools where you can just tell like this is what you want to build. Maybe it will just build the front end. It will do that well. It will build a proper working UI, which you can play around and you can see how is the behavior. So after that, they are able to quickly know like how this is going to look like, how this is quickly, going to behave.
So what problem is getting solved here? Are you able to iterate faster? Are you able to communicate more clearly to your engineering team that what is it that you're trying to develop?
So the most important problem we are solving is like we are able to communicate better, because now dev team can see what exactly it will look like, what that we have to build. So there is no imagination left right now. And yeah, obviously because of this we are able to iterate faster, because there is no back and forth cycle between product and tech team.
Got it. So, Pratik, in your case, like you mentioned, now you're a two-person team. So, I'm sure even you are using AI probably not just for prototyping, but for actual development as well.
That's right. Yeah. So of course, we use it for a lot of production development at this point. And back 2 years ago, when we started, as I mentioned, it was more about just a chat interface where you could paste the code pieces and get the responses back. Then slowly it evolved into using tools like Cline within IDEs. So you could use APIs and tools like Cline within IDEs where you could do editing and the TIFF-based editing within the IDE itself. And now I see this new age of tools coming up where it's less about having a human-based user interface. It's more about you give it a prompt and it does things on its own. For example, if you look at tools like Claude Code recently, and I think it has been very, very popular with developers around the world because the way it's able to edit a large file is very unique to it. I don't see that pattern a lot amongst other tools. I think Codex from OpenAI is recently trying to do something similar on the server side. But this Claude Code, what it does on the client side on your local machine is just it's amazing. But yes, we use it a lot for our production.
What about testing? Any of you using it for testing, test case generation, testing, etc.? Maybe.
Not exactly for complete test case automation, but we are using it for simulating scenarios. So we also built an agent which can. So there are two types of testing for us. It is the API surface is more important to test for scanning. The second one is the dashboard we give to the customers. So the dashboard, there was a simple agent build which could go ahead and click and run a test case, complete it if the dashboard is okay or not. But for the API surface, since we scan at very high volume, it was very important for us to develop simulators which can generate scenarios and keep on testing the API. So that is what we have done in QA.
And again, coming back to the same question, is it something that your company has sort of productized with clear processes, boundaries, etc.? This is how it will be done, or you have one or two engineers who know how to use it and they have been just experimenting. Is it at an experimental phase, or this is now a proper part of your...
Right, I think we started off with experimentation. And my CTO is here, he'll kill me because he was not in favor of using AI at all in the beginning for touching code, because our code is not something which Replit could instantly generate. It can generate an MVP with a database and everything, but we have fairly complex code. So right now, our position is with human oversight. So we do take help of co-pilots. We do use Claude also, we use Cursor and you change the models also. But the final code which goes in is referred and manually typed in.
So with that, still, because there's a human oversight involved, what is the sort of percentage gain that you are able to get from?
Yeah, so for example, if we have to build a new trap, so we are able to gather the logic fairly fast because we have analyzed it in, I would say, 80% more efficiency than we otherwise would have. But the implementation part is a little slower as earlier only. But then when it goes to QA, it again improves. So overall, I would say a 50% efficiency leap is what we have got.
Anything, Amit, you are,
I would like to take the productivity angle here. I think healthcare is highly regulated, and in healthcare, AI can only be used with a radiologist oversight. So the main angle what we can only solve is productivity gain.
yeah.
So and when we do normal X-ray reporting, the productivity gain can be up to as high as 90% because we just have to put the normal format out. But for abnormal scans, the productivity gain is about 50 to 60%. And again, we further delineate whether there is only one finding or two finding in the chest X-ray or multiple findings.
So, Amit, you're talking probably about the product offering.
Correct.
I was thinking more about inside the company, like your engineering team.
Yes.
They're coding, testing, so they are also.
Yeah, absolutely. From that point of view, almost every team in the organization is fully on AI, right from email drafting to generating codes or working on codes or working on the UX, as rightly said. So we use Gemini extensively for doing the product design and presentation in terms of how it looks and how the prototype looks. The entire, as Ajit mentioned, our proposals are very complex. Typically, they run to hundreds of pages. And these proposal writing, which includes a combination of taking all the research which is done, the regulatory side of journey. So all this is completely on the agentic side, which we have to use to generate it quickly and turn it around within 2 days, 4 days for these tender applications.
But it will still require eyeballing in the end because proposal is something so.
Absolutely. So the basic work is done by the system. Ultimately, everything has to go through human oversight before. And the idea here is we have our database already created within the system, so allows us to quickly navigate and search for important documents out of it. So that's apart from that, the digital marketing and everything requires a lot of.
Just coming back to the proposal thing, because that's something I found very interesting because. But again, what sort of saving are you seeing? Because I just want to know about that, and maybe others also will be interested in knowing, and whether it makes sense for other companies also to invest in using AI in say proposal building and so on.
I think every proposal in healthcare is it's not a cookie cutter proposal.
Mm-hmm.
Every customer proposal will be completely different from the one which we create for any other customer because their requirements are completely different. And hence, whenever we need all these documentations, we need to summarize them well, collate all these documents, and then create the commercial proposal well. So some of them will require perpetual licenses, some will require paper study licenses, some of them will require a lifetime usage license because we'll bundle it with a modality maker, or we'll have to give it on a PAX, with the customer PAX. It could be on cloud or it could be on prem. So all these proposals, when we have it on using this Gen AI tools, it becomes very fast and easy for us. We heavily rely on such documentation.
Okay. So moving on, I actually wanted, there was one very unique response that I got from you, Harry, was that probably not surprising, but you are the only company from where I read also about product demo videos also that you're using heavily AI for.
Yes.
So what tool are you using, and again, what sort of gain that you are seeing there? Because even that will require verification, review, etc. later on.
Yeah. So I'm just forgetting the name of tool. So our product team have been using it like very regularly. So like the process is very simple. So earlier when the product launch happens, and at that time, let's say you have to create a video tutorial. It was actually you have to record the video, you have to maybe annotate the video, and like you have to put maybe voice or something. So it was a like complex process. And like this tool, it installs some Chrome extension, and after that you simply follow the process. You simply click the buttons, follow the process within the Chrome. It will record the screen, and it will automatically identify what we are doing, and it will automatically annotate. So it's not putting any voice. But a mute video, it can annotate the video properly, and that works as a good tutorial.
So when you say annotate, probably means subtitle.
Subtitle, yes.
This is something that I feel any company which is basically struggling with educating their customers and is thinking of creating a video. This I think is something something very simple that everyone could probably verify.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called Cluso.
Okay.
They're doing this very well. So
Cluso.
Cluso. So Cluso does it very well. Where you can actually
So with Cluso, you can actually not only generate product videos, they can do full, like you can talk in your language, but they can, Americanize it, the voice. Because usually to create product demo videos and you want to sell to the Western market, you would want to hire somebody who could do voiceovers onto your videos. But Cluso does it automatically. You can even edit the text and it would just edit the audio also automatically. So the whole thing just used to take maybe a week or so to create like a product demo video. It like takes a day now to do that. I think it's been an amazing tool.
So you're also using Cluso here? Okay. Two Cluso users. Okay. I will go back and see on the A16Z list whether that appears somewhere or not, but nice. I never knew about the name, but good to know.
They found us an Indian-based company. It's a Bangalore-based startup.
It's a Bangalore-based. Okay. Very nice, very nice. In fact, I mean, a lot of you are definitely using the product for GTM motions and so on. But I think it was DeepTek that talked about that market analysis also, or I don't know which, DeepTek. So what do you mean? I mean, how do you do market analysis using the AI tools?
So,
Or is it mainly ChatGPT based search and so on?
so basically, I think finding the right references, and many times there's so much research happening in the medical field, it's almost difficult to catch up what's happening. And many times these could be paid research articles in some journals at some point of time, and we need to refer to them when we are giving our kind of proposition or proposals. And at that particular point, ChatGPT helps us identify these articles, identify to reach the source, and then we can go and review those articles. So that kind of important links, generating those links, starting point, the source is ChatGPT or a Claude kind of engine where we basically know what is the latest research happening. And this was not used to happen previously because ChatGPT and other tools were not giving prior information only to a certain period of time. But now it's almost near real time or instantaneous. And even if we are able to get research output which is even a month's old, that's fine. Because that's probably the latest research paper which is coming out in the market, which is pitching AI companies and giving their values. And sometimes we also don't know where our AI research is landing up, because new journals have come up and they have already tested or benchmarked our products, and we don't know. And when we do a search, we realize, oh, this is a new article which has come up, and our product is also being showcased at that point. Then we use that as a reference material for our proposal. So that's how quickly things are evolving in the AI space.
Anyone using for support, customer support? I'm sure in your case, almost everything, because you're a 2% team, so you have almost everything where you're using AI. Just want to hear about customer support part and how you're using it. If you're having especially the 24/7 thing and AI is not able to answer, how do you handle the handing over to a real person and so on?
So in our case, the way we are doing it, so there is a set of answers which we have given to customers on previous questions. And some of the questions become repetitive across from some other customer also. So we have built a repository for that, and we have trained custom GPTs on each customer. And giving the persona, giving the logs of that customer, that this is the profile. So for example, one customer is doing display ad scanning. One customer is doing CTV scanning. One customer is doing Google AdWords scanning. So then the logs are there, the profile of the customer is there, our previous answers are also there. Now, whenever a new question comes, so right now we have not delegated everything to AI. So the support guy is able to just feed in the question there, and a very well-framed answer with the name of the person on the other side, everything comes up.
So it's a human in loop sort of thing.
Human in loop, we are keeping. So
that AI there is supporting that human there, customer support person, and then he picks the answers from there and then hands.
Yeah, so this way it is completely independent of, to some way it is a skill complement to the person who is doing it.
Got it.
So in our entire AI theory, what we are saying is that AI is flying the plane, but the human is landing it at the end of it.
Anyone who is actually just handed it over to AI, and by default it is AI driven, and only in case of exception it goes to human.
Not exactly in case of customer support, but it is a more of the case of lead qualification, I would say. And for that, we are using our own like in-house build like into the
these efficiencies, but in the end, just like your cloud storage, cloud things, these things in themselves start becoming very expensive. So any experience that or best practices that you like to share about how you're trying, making sure that it does not, the cost of these tools does not really go out of hand.
Actually, a very, very apt question, Madhukar. So when you start using and start experimenting, for every use case you can think of, there will be an AI tool. And there is right now. And the cost can start increasing unless you optimize it. So if you are looking at what you want to achieve from that respective AI tool, you should be able to optimize the cost, otherwise it becomes another cost element very clearly. So if you have gone ahead with the point of reducing the cost, your cost can be equivalent. Maybe because I'll give one example. As he was selling V0.dev or Replit or Bolt, these tools help you spin up products very quickly. You can prototype quickly. And now these tools have gone ahead by adding databases, by adding the complete infrastructure in the backend also. You can very well have a working app also. So it pushes the teams also to think that, hey, I can remove my existing app and create another app which is of my own. But there is costing behind it also which you have to pay Replit. And now the rate at which these tools are changing their pricing models is very interesting. Earlier it was like you pay $40 per seat, but now the more you prompt, and if you are inefficient at prompting, you pay more. So it will do 1 minute of work and give you a little drop down that I charge you $1 for this.
It almost sounds like snacks companies and the sugar and other things that they put into that so that you're addicted to it. Instead of changing the small thing, I'll create a new app and I'll end up paying a little bit more money.
It is like वो हिंदी में एक वो है ना कि बंदूक बेच दो गोली लेने तो आएगा ही. So it's like Gillette. You get the razor and you keep on buying the cartridge.
Something to, and in your case, in fact, the cost has been very important thing. So.
Definitely, even cost is definitely a very sensitive topic for us. So I think just to give a very naive answer to this, right? We have been smart about it. For example, using things like not sticking to one model and using tools like Open Router in the backend where we can keep on changing models. Second thing is that between dev and production, right? So a lot of cost goes in actually developing an AI product because you have to prompt it a lot and get a response, tune your prompts, and then actually deploy it to production. When you have a working, stable workflow and you know that the outputs are going to be consistent, and only then you can deploy to production. So that time frame, you can actually use cheaper version of the models, or you can even, companies keep coming up with new versions. For example, even these days, right, if you go to Open Router, Grok 4 is completely free of cost. These days, it won't be free of course forever, but you can use it for now at least to get to some point and then change it. In the future, I feel that, see, the way you pay for electricity today, the way you pay for water, I think you're probably gonna pay for tokens or intelligence in the future in a very similar way. Because this technology, right, it impacts everybody. And second thing is, what I also feel is that LLM is not an answer to everything. LLM is a great, it's an amazing autocomplete technology in today's world. It's one of the best autocompletes ever. Right, but it is still far from being maybe just completely intelligent and out there. No. Maybe a binary classifier model, a simple decision tree, is much better to solve some problem rather than applying LLM to solve that problem, because it's going to increase the cost.
And you don't want to ask ChatGPT what is 2 plus 2.
Yeah, probably you're going to be the cost to compute that answer is going to be a lot more than actually the value of that answer itself. And third thing I think is the pricing models. I think he was also talking about it. It's going to shift in the market. Today, if you look at how OpenAI and Figma are collaborating, right? And recently, I think there was this whole demo, there was this whole hackathon that OpenAI had hosted. And I think it's going to move towards outcomes. As long as you can charge your customers for the intelligence, so for the tokens delivered, for the output delivered, you can cover your costs. Your dev costs, anyways, should be part of your margins.
Good. So one last question on this. In fact, just coming round back to the initial thing. Just want to hear very, very briefly from all of you, maybe in a line or two, how did you start on this journey? Because some of us, while they're already on the journey, some of us are at the beginning and just wondering how to start. So in that, my question is has these tools come into your company because one or two guys were experimenting, trying out something, just having fun with tools, and then they came and demoed it to you, and you said, yeah, this looks great, now we'll start using it? Or was it a much more deliberate thing that, okay, now we'll look for a tool which will help me in testing, or which will help me in coding, or which will help me in GTM? So I just want to hear that part.
Yeah, sure. So I think for us, this
I want all of you to
yeah,
make changes on
I'll
that.
just take a minute. So for us, I think this journey began. It was more of we were forced to begin on this journey. It was not a choice. It was not something that okay, could we escape it? Because if not AI, then I would not have been here today for sure. Because the company would not have been here. So for us, I think it was more of a, like as I said, I think necessity is a mother of invention. I think we just figured out our way, like how to use this technology, which is now amazing. Obviously, it had its problems back then. It still has a lot of problems. But just learning how to wield this sword has been an interesting journey, and I think that's what got us started to save the company.
So Pratik, that slide talks about 7 employees required for $1 million a year. Should be very encouraging for you.
100%, absolutely. And today, I don't think like the headcount honestly matters. And again, I would say this: if not AI, I mean, the company would have to do.
Great, great.
I think for us the journey started with one ChatGPT license. So we started with one GPT, and then slowly it became an infrastructure for our thinking. So we started using it for thinking a lot. And then we started observing the market and what else is coming here. So the next thing which we saw is, okay, vibe coding is coming. So in vibe coding, how can we take advantage of it? How can we leverage it? So then we started leveraging it, and today we have close to 8 apps. I would not call them agents because they are apps. Agentic web, in my personal opinion, is still 1 year away. True decision-making agents are still not there. So we made some apps to solve this log analysis and the problems which I explained before, which are definitely helping us. So if you have to build or solve a specific problem, if the scope is very clear, vibe coding can help you get there, make that little small app which can solve one specific function of
So
yours.
it was a very deliberate decision that I'm going to use.
Yeah.
For us, basically, I think every team is using AI, and it started when the OpenAI prompt came and we tried making some reports out of it. But then everyone started using it right from day one, literally. And every team comes up with, every week when we have these PRG calls, and they come up with some new tidbits around how they have used this tool for improvising their workflows, and how these tools are differentiating also from each other. So now we understand how this tool could be used to leverage this function of it versus that tool for a particular function of it. So that kind of differentiation is coming from this tool, and whether it's a Grok engine or a Claude engine or a Gemini engine, we now understand that if I want to create a prototype, I'll go here. If I just need a literature search, I'll go here. If I need to generate reports, I'm going to use a Claude. So all those kind of differentiation are coming, and we are getting the benefits of all those things. So we are not linking ourselves to one particular tool. We are kind of being a little democratic in terms of use, because we know these tools are evolving by the day.
So for us, the trigger point was something like observing like how like process is inefficient and how AI can make it more efficient. So like me and like many of like the team members keep following tech news or like what is happening in the news, where we keep hearing these companies is using this for AI and this for AI. So with all this news coming in, like things are already back in mind, this might be possible, and then when we have some problem in the team and we see that this is inefficient, like we discuss together with like how this can be solved, this can make it better. So like this is how like the thoughts started coming in, like why not use maybe some tool, maybe in GenAI we already read about this, maybe search more like if there is some way. So that is how our journey started. We started experimenting and we found it quite useful. So yeah, that is how we are.
I think in the interest of time, in fact, I'll probably not continue much further, except just like we just learned later on, it was too late to now include it in this discussion. Like most of us have been experimenting, the team, internal team has been experimenting with the latest tools, AI or not AI. It just so happens that most of the recent tools are all related to AI. like internal teams experimenting and implementing. We also have an example in Fable where, in fact, the management took a very considered decision that a lot of this development I want to now do through this set of things I want to do using AI, and they in fact found an external team to really implement the whole thing and implement it like a very strict project, etc. I mean, you can talk to Nihar of Fable maybe later on to understand his experience. If there are any quick reaction, just one or two reactions or questions from anyone here, we can try to answer that. Otherwise, we will move on to the next session.
It's okay. You guys have been using it extensively. When a lot of developers use it, we find the code a little patchy at times. So did you all come across it? What did you all do? Because my experience is vibe coding helps, but when each one is doing their own piece, right, invariably it becomes so patchy. Then somebody is just sitting and cleaning it only up. So what is your experience?
I think I mentioned earlier, right, that we do vibe coding, but then eventually we manually patch it, put it in the system. We don't allow it to, because there's a lot of technical debt which accrues if you start using code straight from the vibe coding thing. It cannot apply to complex applications. It is good for simple web apps. Still another year away from doing it for complex apps.
I think, in my opinion, it's been more about don't exceed the context for one prompt or for one specific task, so that you're not overflowing it to the next like chat, and then usually that's when it sort of stops working. Other thing is that I think definitely the engineer or the person, see the job of software engineering is not completely dead yet. Coding itself might be commoditized. Maybe code itself is, you don't need kitchen sink coder anymore. That is something a ChatGPT can or an agent can do for you. But designing a system or thinking about how it should actually be built is still largely a human's part, which is being done today. Maybe agents will take over that also tomorrow, and they will, right? Because that's the future. But I think somebody has to be in the driving seat to see those diffs, to see that, okay, what code is actually getting inserted. And one more thing that I've also found is asking an agent to rate itself on a scale of 1 to 10, like how confident it is and why. I think it helps, like, before just hitting enter to just apply the entire thing.
So with this human being in the loop to provide oversight, is this still worth it? Is it still saving time for?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, I think if a 2-member team can handle, workload of probably having 6 customers at a time, which earlier we used to handle probably with a team of 20 members. I think that itself is a great efficiency.
I think what he was telling earlier, right? I think what he was telling earlier is that there is a huge effort in fixing the code if you apply that code. And that is not worth the time. So it's better better input in, better output out. So make sure that your input is better in the system. And one thing I would also like to say that everything is not from a vibe coding app. There are workflow automation tools also like N8N or Make or Zapier, which can do a lot of your activities just by drag and drop and creating a workflow. That workflow itself can solve a lot of inefficiencies of an organization for any vertical, any department.